Remember, kids, kings get guillotines, and there's nothing that can eat the rich better than an avalanche. Avs are taking on the LA Kings tonight. Let's start the pregame show. Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. This is the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by Coors Light. We got Big E, we got Rudo coming to you live as the Avs are taking on the LA Kings. Their third game of a four-game homestand here, looking to keep it perfect, looking to go 3-0 tonight. LA, not going to be an easy out. They're technically in first place in the Pacific, even that there is a bit of a games in hand issue going on there. But still, LA, a quality team. Just initial impressions here. I think you probably feel less good about this game than I do.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's... I do like the LA Kings. As you know, I have a past there. I'm good friends, that are managers of that team and stuff. But that besides that, meaning that I have a soft spot for them. I don't know why. Usually I'm always the guy that's upbeat in here and thinking like, okay. I'm not saying that's not boding well for the Avalanche. I just think it's going to have to be a very hard-fought, tight game. I like the way the Kings are playing this year. I like the way Jim Hiller's got them going. And I don't know why. It's just a weird feeling. And just a weird feeling I had at the rink this morning. And I just feel that I hate the ex-Avalanche curse as well, as we know, with Darcy Kemper coming back. And by the way, did he play last year?
Kemper?
Has he played back here in this building since?
I don't know. I was
thinking
sure.
about that, and I was like trying to remember, and I'm like, I don't remember if he did. I think he was in Washington, so I think he was hurt when he played here.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I'm trying to remember.
I couldn't tell you. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying. I'm scared a little bit of the ex-Av curse tonight. Like, again, I learned that from you and AJ, and I never thought about it before.
It's a thing.
So
it's not really a thing, but it's a thing.
Head.
Yeah.
Well, Colton Sissons is a thing. That is for sure.
Well, he's not next
Even
Av,
though he's not next Av. I'm saying, but there are a lot of things.
Yeah.
We don't believe in superstitions, but we do believe in things here at the DNVR Avalanche. So anyway, I'm not trying to be negative. I don't want chat to think I'm negative. I'm not. I'm a little cautious.
For the Avs, it is Georgiev in net. Beyond that, it's expected to be the same lineup that it was last game. Unfortunately, the earliest you can expect Wood or Druin back is Friday. So,
and again, you're doing that with Val. And what is that? That's a full line.
Yep.
A full line. How crazy is that? And not only a full line, but like a very prominent player in Druin, a very prominent player in Natusha, and then I don't care what people will say about Woody. Woody's he's a good bottom six player. So that's three very important pieces of your lineup.
Yep.
And again, you can't worry about them tonight. They're not there.
You can't. I think reality, most of your stars only had 1 point or no points in your last game. You still managed to win it, but you're going to need them to pop back up again. That's how this team survives right now. We can take a look at our stat pack for this one. In a lot of ways, I do think these two teams are pretty darn close to each other as far as the numbers show out in this one. Both right around that same spot with their possession metrics, so both good possession teams. The Kings a little bit better at producing goals on an expected rate, but still very close there. The Avs, they're one of the most injured teams in the NHL, but the Kings have had to use a couple of bodies too. So they're mostly healthy right now, but it's not like they've had a free pass this season. The Avs are still kind of recovering from the start of the year. The Avs give up some of the most goals in the NHL right now. That's still true. 16 games into the season. You expect against a team like the Kings, they're going to have to lock it down and keep it at least a little bit more low scoring for them to win a game like this. And over their last 10, two teams that are almost exactly the same. They have 6-4 in their last 10. Good to see them over 500 in that stretch. But LA 6-3-1, so right there with them. One team's got to win tonight. I expect it to be a pretty tight one. E, I know you have a secret stat that you want to get into for this one.
And that's why, like, when you opened the show and I said I was being honest and, being a little cautious about this game, and this is because I read that today, okay? I thought it was pretty telling of what this team's all about. This is from our buddy there, the Mayor Manor, right, that covers the Kings. Those guys are, if you don't follow them, you want to know anything about the Kings, follow these guys. They're awesome. Under Jim Hiller, when they fired... what's his name last year? My Lord, I'm having a blank
McClellan.
Here. When McClellan got fired, Jim Hiller took over. Well, the Kings are 15-4-1 in the first game following a loss. What happened last game? They lost to Calgary 3-1. So they'll be looking to get to that win column tonight like they have done since Hiller took over halfway through the year last year. And that's what's getting me a little bit worried. And I'm not saying... this is a stat, play the game's over. I'm just saying that, holy cow, do they bounce back? That group bounces back, you know what I mean? And they do have that championship pedigree. I don't care what people say. Kopitar and, obviously Doughty's been out, but there is that championship pedigree of, from, when's the last time? 10 years? Or is it
would
give
have
and
been
take,
10 years
right,
ago.
right
Yeah.
about 10 years, yeah. Still, when you've won, you know how to win, and that's what scares me a little bit tonight. I'm just being honest with the chat or anybody. They're not being negative. Just being cautious.
Got to make it 16-5-1, maybe, on that record.
That's right.
That's what the Avs'
Why
goal
not?
is tonight.
Absolutely.
And frankly, while I think from our perspective on the outside, it is important to assess numbers like that. If you're the Avs, you're not thinking about the Kings at all tonight. You're thinking about yourself and trying to get 9-8 on the season. Get above that 500 watermark a little bit. Help yourselves out. That's really the important part for Colorado.
And we go back to what we've been talking about all summer. Training camp, start of the year. Let's assess after 20 games. Let's assess and let's stay afloat and see what happens. And you're going to get reinforcements. And what? Friday.
2 days.
Like they're getting some reinforcements.
2 days.
So the 20-game mark, I think, was very telling. I think mentally, short-term goal, I talk about it all the time. For the Avalanche, I think it's important to get that win tonight. And you get above that 500 marker, and it makes you feel good about yourself. Not where you want to be, but certainly feel good, feel better.
You'd rather be there than 4 games below 500.
Exactly, 5-6 games ago where you're like, oh, God.
So
what is happening?
You and Giz went to morning skate tonight. Talked about a little bit of that, too. So let's hear from hockey in the Rockies.
Gizmo and Big E and the DNVR hockey in the Rockies from Ball Arena. The Colorado Avalanche, hot right now, especially at home, getting set to take on the visiting Los Angeles Kings. E, it will be Georgiev in net again tonight. No injury updates whatsoever. Roster stays the same as it was against the Predators. What do we expect tonight against a very good and tricky team in the West, the Kings?
And again, the Avalanche, they've had that same lineup now for like 3-4 games, right? Since the Lecky returned, you haven't really lost anyone. We thought they had lost Makar, but they didn't. Knock on wood. But they've known how to play together the last 4 or 5 days, and I think that was important to the coaching staff. And I think they know how to win games now, which sounds really good for a game like tonight because you're getting a little reinforcement Friday. Nobody cares about Friday; they care about tonight. And you're right, LA's rolling pretty good right now. They've had a very good start to the season. They got their friend Darcy Kemper coming in. So, yeah, I expect the Avalanche to, with what they have at their disposition tonight, to play a really good game and hopefully come out on top, which we all know they can. They've had a good stretch here, and I think it's very important that they get back to it and play the way they've been playing lately.
A lot of talent on the other side as well, of course. One of the top players in the league, Jay Kopitar, will be playing tonight. We also get a look at Mikey Anderson, probably the next captain or one of the next captains of this team on defense. They're a balanced lineup right now and playing well, and of course you can't overlook the performance of Adrian Kempe as of late.
Absolutely, and Kempe, there's one guy I talk about, AJ and Rudo know about that. Like, I was so wrong on him. This is a guy that I thought that would never pan out to be what he is. You're not always right. Rudo knows I'm not not always right. AJ knows I'm not always right, so I admit it. I was wrong on Kempe. But also, there's a lot of talent there. Look no further than DU product, Trevor Moore. I think that's been a wonderful story there, scoring 30 goals in the National Hockey League. It's pretty awesome. So they got some good players, and the secondary players that we call like our secondary, like the Druins and the Lehkonen. So they have a lot of those guys. They know how to play hockey, and I think they've been under Jim Hiller a little bit more aggressive. No more of that 1-3-1 that kind of plagued their thoughts last few years, and I think they all wanted to get away from that. And of course, our good old friend Rob Blake, friend of the show, GM of the Avalanche. We wish him good luck for the season, but just not tonight.
Not tonight. Big night for Jared Bednar. He takes over as the longest tenured coach in franchise history. He had a comical answer at the press conference, so make sure you check that out. As humble as you would expect. Puck Drop is at 8 p.m. tonight. You can catch that game on TNT. Check our friend Connor McGahey on the radio, and of course the watch along happening on DNVR. So catch Rudo and E for that, and they will have the pregame for you at 7:30. We'll see you tonight for Kings and Avs.
So, look, this is one of those spots, I think, for the Avs where, yeah, they've played pretty well, but you have to find a way to continue it because the Avs don't have the room to. We're talking to our bartender, Carolina fan. They lost to the Avs the other night. No big deal because they were 10-2. They can afford a loss here and there. Colorado is 8-8. Doesn't matter what you've done lately. What have you done for me? Or I guess it does matter what have you done for me lately. Doesn't matter what you do for me over the long term. You got to win right now if you're Colorado.
I think I learned early in my career, and that's again, I talk about it all the time, right? The one word is consistency, right? That is the toughest thing to achieve, right? Toughest thing to attain. It is hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would play in the NHL. There would be no first round bust, second round bust. Like, it's not easy. It is hard. But God, I lost my chain of thought there on the. I'm talking about like friggin' consistency. But I'm saying, what was the question again? Sorry.
What have you done for me lately?
That's right.
More
sorry.
than yeah.
So hey.
Sorry, I distracted you.
No, I'll blame Tiff here. I was like watching where she was going. And I think it's you're only as good as your last game.
Yep.
As an individual and as a team. That's where I was trying to go before losing my. Again, I parked my car at the grocery store. I come out, I don't even know where it is, and it's 6 a.m. and I'm like, where is my car? So, but besides that, I'm all good, right? AJ, listen to me, AJ. AJ, are you here? Look at me, AJ.
Nope.
No, I know it's Rudo. I'm kidding.
Living proof of CTE, chat.
Yes,
Living proof.
I just didn't want to say it. I'm kidding. But I think you're only as good as your last game as an individual or as a team. And that is tough to understand because you might have an unbelievable game. You score your first NHL goal, and it's like, yeah, you know what? The next game, the coach doesn't care.
True.
And that is hard to realize because you have to start every day fresh.
Just ask Cal Ritchie.
That's right. That again, I didn't want to say it. Oh, it's negative on Cal Ritchie. No, it's not. It's hard to attain. And, I think it's important for the Avalanche with this group right now to just focus on each game. And then, again, it's a drastically different group Friday.
Yep.
So you go from there after that.
Well, maybe the Avs can make it a little bit easier to attain by sticking to Big E's 3 keys for this hockey game. E, how do the Avs get the win?
Big E's 3 keys here against the pesky Los Angeles Kings tonight at Ball Arena. Key number 1, win the 50-50 battles. We haven't really talked about it this year a lot, but I think tonight it's very important. LA works down deep, down low, offensive zone, defensive zone. You want to make sure you get on top of pucks. You win those 50-50 battles. Be hungry. It leads to possession. And then what do you do with the possession? You turn that into grade A scoring chances. So let's rock and roll tonight in that area for the Avalanche. Number 2, be the better team at 5-on-5. It does make a difference. It makes you control the play. You play under control, situational hockey. Know what the score is. Know what the time of the period is. Know what's going on. Know your surroundings. Very important tonight to control the play at 5-on-5. Key number 3, Darcy, my old friend. Big Darcy Kemper fan. I think he delivered in 2022. If you're Georgiev tonight, your job is to make sure you're better than the guy down the hall, down the ice from you. Make sure you win the goalie save percentage. I stay away from goalies and 3 keys all the time, but tonight, you got to be better than the guy across from you, and this is a guy that they moved on and they went and got you. So prove them right and make sure that you win that goalie battle tonight.
How many more spots can you find at Ball Arena to do that video?
For different places. This is in concourse. Right?
I'm saying you find a new spot
on
every
the
game.
concourse. I couldn't find it. Yeah, I like to go to different places. Honestly, like I'd like to go to different places every time. You know, go up, go in the press box, go on the other level, go on the 300.
I do think it would be funny if at like one point you found like the underground secret tunnels and you did one from there.
Yeah, I do know the underground secret tunnels from there.
You should like
do one from DIA randomly.
Yeah.
I'm
like
in,
Kevin Weeks when he goes is like, you know, Kevin Weeks when he's like, presses it, all you see is his head. Like, he's like, what's Tim Taylor? What was that show back then? Like, oh, shoot. Anyway, you could see the neighbor across the fence.
Oh,
there.
Tool Time. Yeah, I don't know what the actual show was called. Yeah, but Home Improvement. That sounds right. That sounds
Remember
right.
Remember the neighbor? You can only see like his head, like or his eyes or whatever above the.
Yep.
We should start doing that like Kevin Weeks when he does his scoops.
Do it.
From anywhere from Ball Arena, this is the 3 keys.
Well,
key number 4. I'm kidding.
We have more content from Ball Arena and Morning Skate here as Jared Bednar did talk once again about goaltending and more. So,
I had questions for Jared.
Coach, it seems like the group has really settled into the season here. Do you feel like you guys are kind of past the point of thinking about injuries, who's in, who's out? You guys are just kind of into the season now?
Yeah, we tried to move past that as quickly as possible. I mean, and it's just about, I don't think they were hung up on it. I just think that you got to figure out ways to try and win hockey games without the guys that weren't available, right? So that's the bigger challenge than putting it out of your head on who's playing. I think they show up game night, jerseys are hanging in the stalls, they know what the lineup is prior to that even, and it's focus on what they need to do. It does make the job any easier.
Coach, it's a big night for you personally. Congratulations ahead of it, but any thoughts on just the longevity and the impact you made here?
What's the milestone?
Just a couple of Colorado coaching games.
Okay. Yeah. So
Best answer.
I have no idea. Yeah. Yeah. So no thoughts really. I hadn't thought about it. Didn't even know about it.
Well, congrats.
Thank you. Yeah.
In between these last 2 games, you've kind of swapped Middleset and Kelly like mid-game. So is it a matter of just kind of seeing how the game's going, how those lines are working, or what is kind of the thought process going into it?
Well, it's twofold. Like if I want a really trusted defensive line, then I try to put Kelly with OC and Kivy. And I think the other guys have done a nice job helping create offense. So if I'm they can go with Midi, who's obviously a creative guy, and like to see some offensive spark out of those guys. So just depending on how the other team's lines shape up, how we sort of match up, and what I see in the numbers from both those lines, like creating offense and suppressing offense on the other end. I like to see them a little bit with both, but that's why we've been kind of flipping them mid-game.
Ivan and Kovalenko done enough to stay when the lineup is full?
Yeah. I mean, I like the way both those guys are playing. I like the way all of our call-up guys are playing. They all have like different strengths and weaknesses. Like if you're looking at offensive side of it, Kobe's done a nice job helping create offense on some nights. I think there's a consistency that needs to improve, and Ivan's kind of done the same, not as frequently, but like his suppression of scoring chances is elite so far in the entire league. Like he was number 1 in the league for a long time. He's played a significant amount of minutes. I think he sits at number 2 in the league right now. So really responsible checking forward. So, and you can go through Tynan and Wagner the same way. And even Prish. There's some decisions to be made there, but we got to map out, like when these guys come back, which could be as early as Friday, we have to map out what our power plays look like, what our penalty kill looks like, and then that also has a big factor in, and how we would want to set up our lines, and then that has a big factor on who stays.
Coach, you know what's Georgia tonight?
Yes.
Kovalenko took a puck out there, so going to be good.
Yeah, he'll be good.
Did you get a chance to talk to Darcy this morning?
No, I didn't. I haven't seen him yet.
What do you remember about his time here? I know it was short, but
I remember that we won the Stanley Cup and he was our goalie, which was awesome. That's the main thing I remember. Yeah, I said this before. I got a soft spot for all those guys. You know, we're connected forever in that moment, and it's great to see those guys that have come back. And you know, like, it wasn't here a long time, but he obviously made a huge impact, and every single one of those guys did. And yeah, it's something I'll never forget. So, yeah.
Just while we're on going down memory lane, EJ's at 998.
Yeah, I read this yesterday.
Yeah. Just, is it possible to sum up like what he did here?
Well, no.
Besides what
I mean, he was here long before I was, right? But again, for me, he falls into that same category. Had ups and downs with injuries for a few years while I was here, and the longest tenured right on the team in 2022. And just seeing the joy in his face, and Landy and guys that have been friends for a long time, long before I was here, to see him finally get rewarded for all the work they put into the team organization, and going through, you know, some tough times there, like my first year, like all those guys that were here my first year, to see them get rewarded in 2022 is the best feeling.
Last ones?
Do you have any quintessential EJ stories you can share with us?
No. I'm sure the guys will have lots.
Thanks, Jared.
Yeah, thanks.
The Avs still have one of the lowest shooting percentages at 5-on-5 in the league. These last couple games, it's felt like maybe at least a couple breaks are starting to go their way. How do they find more consistent finishing?
Again, we talked about Logan, right? Front of the show, we love Logan.
Yeah.
I do love Logan, you know. But usually with the opportunities that he gets his, 10 goals a year. But if he had Mikko's hands or whatever, he'd finish with 35. But it's not easy. It's not easy. I think what they got to do is just keep going. I think it is the lack of finish by the makeup of the forwards right now. It's just a reality. And you like the effort. You like the way they're playing. They're finding ways to win with, like Bednar says, the last few games. The group that they have, not the group that they will have. I think it's very important to differentiate the two. But there's a little bit of lack of finish in there. There always will be. It is what it is.
There's no doubt the future of their lineup has much better finishing.
Absolutely.
But Bednar said it himself a couple games ago. They're trying to win with the lineup they do have.
That's
right
my
now.
point. And it's like, I think you got to keep going, and you're going to get what you're going to get. And then you cross your fingers that get some puck luck, some things go in. But I think that not only when you're going to get those players, you're getting better forwards, but it's slotting everybody down the right way. Therefore, a guy like LOC can have maybe more success putting the puck in the net on a lower end part of the lineup, which makes more sense for him. And we all love him, and this is not a knock on him. I'm using him as an example, but you're gonna get what you're getting out of those guys. I mean, that's why we've always said goaltending is so important. That's why your defense and your structure is so important, because when you're not getting the goals that you're accustomed to getting, you're getting them from your top end guys, but right now, you getting some games, like the Utah game, you got some scoring. Then, there's a few games that you've gotten some scoring. Obviously, you'd like to have it a little bit more consistent. Is it going to happen? I don't know.
You would. But at a certain point, Parker Kelly, you're a forward. 16 games, 0 goals.
Yeah, I know.
And I like Parker Kelly. He's a good defensive forward. I get it. You got to put the puck in the net eventually as a forward. You have to.
And I'm stopping you right there. Eventually will be, once you get those 3 guys back Friday, then eventually Parker Kelly goes back to where he's slotted more, therefore to have more success. That's the way I look at it.
I hope you're
right.
right.
I think, all right, I'm making a comment. He's starting to be my good friend here, Parker Kelly. We have trivia together now, so I like it. And he's got some good trivia. We're going to start bringing it to the show here. But I predict Parker Kelly, the second segment of the year, meaning like game 20 to 40, I'm going to go 5 goals from Parker Kelly.
I hope you're right. The Avs are going to need some of that.
Now.
Same thing with Logan O'Connor. 16 games, 1 goal.
No, I know, and I do believe Logan. I just said it. Once he's slotted back the right way, it will help his production.
I agree, but TikTok, man. This is
TikTok. I agree with you.
Still a lot of season left, but
I know.
With tonight, the season is 20% over.
I know.
So it's got to happen sooner rather than later. Even if
I agree with you.
Even if it is waiting for those guys to get healthy, you need it to start happening.
I have no other defense on that.
Okay. All right.
I rest your case.
Thank you for resting my case. Let's get into my bets. The pregame picks with Bet365 are, of course, never ordinary. Got a couple of different angles for you on this one. Eric might not be confident, but I'm taking the Avs to not just win, but cover, baby. You get plus 175 for the Avs to cover. That's supposed to be a Lehkonen power play point, which is plus 220. And then if you look outside the Avs a little bit, Mikko and Svechnikov to score at plus 565. Pretty good money for two pretty good goal scorers right there if you'll go watch the Carolina game too. So
That's the one I took.
I think that's your best money bet for that one. You can also probably get a Mikko power play point. I don't think it's plus 165, but you could probably get in on it. Whatever you bet on with Bet365, make sure you use the DNVR 365 code. And when you do sign up, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER today. You've usually been pretty good on the score predictions. You got one tonight?
Yeah, I do. And again, I'm hoping it's on the right side of things, right? But if you didn't watch the show on the first side, I said I was a little cautious. So I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going to go 4-3 OT game tonight. And like I said, I hope it's on the right guys, but I'm going to cross my fingers.
Oof, I don't know if I need another OT game in my life. Miss me with that.
I think
this Pittsburgh game's about to go to OT. That's enough OT for tonight, all right?
No, future Avs, Sidney Crosby's going to score here very soon. Did I just say that? Sorry.
It's a weird way to spell Anthony Beauvillier.
How do you spell Crosby? B-E-A-U-V-I-L-L-I-E-R. Beauvillier.
Close enough.
All right.
I like that in the Toyota chat there. I think a 3-1 Avs. I think it's got to be low scoring right now for Colorado to get the job done a little bit. So.
I like that when I predict the 7-6. That's usually it's usually out of hand. So I don't feel that tonight. I think it's a good hockey game tonight. I think two teams that are going to be playing their hearts out. I think 4-3 OT, and hopefully it's the right guys.
Hopefully so, one way or another. I get what you're saying, Toyota Chat, about LOC and him coming back from hip surgery. I think, especially through the first 10 games, there was some pretty clear getting back into it. But a hip surgery doesn't affect your hands.
What's he got right now? One butt?
One butt, one A.
So, and I know he's a proud guy, and he is a great, great, great leader in his own way on the team, and it just eats at you a little bit. When you see that, Parker Kelly, same thing. You see a bagel, it eats at you because you're not counting on that, but at the end of the day, you do want to help out the Cales and Mikos and Mac, and and it does. But you're right. I think Bednar started laughing 2 days ago when he said, "Well, he's having a hard time to finish," And I think it's always going to be. I was the same way. I'm not. It's hard to beat goalies in the NHL.
Yeah,
man.
of course.
It's the best league in the world, but I think he's very streaky. Always been streaky. And
I'm just saying, I don't know that the hip surgery is the reason for it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. He'll get there.
Yep, I think so too. It is what it is. We do have to wrap up this pregame show, though. I guess we're going to watch the end of this Detroit-Pittsburgh game that looks like it's headed for overtime with the watch-along, and then the puck drop will probably be like 8:20 local. So get ready for a late night, folks. We'll be live on the watch-along in a few minutes, and then, of course, if you're not joining us for that, at least join us for the post-game. Stay up late, and we'll break it all down for you. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by Coors Light.
We all silly like the mayor.